Well, obviously, Texans have been voting in huge numbers, but many of these are voters who come out every election, and what we want to do is encourage those who maybe don't come out and vote every election, that this is really the election of our lifetime. And so encouraging them, encouraging the people who've already voted to go out and reach out and find friends and family, people they go to church with, and just try to get them to the polls. It's, as I said to them, I've learned a long time ago, the candidate who gets the most votes wins, and so it's a numbers game. Well, I do think the race is closer than I would like for the president, and frankly my race too. But we're seeing unprecedented amounts of money coming into the state, particularly directed at my race, as well as down ballot for the state house and the congressional races, particularly in major metropolitan areas like North Texas. But I think Joe Biden did himself a disservice when he started talking about transitioning from oil and gas. We're an all of the above state. We produce more electricity from wind than any other state in the nation, but we also understand the critical importance of our oil and gas sector, which creates so many jobs, made us less dependent on imports from overseas, and has actually reduced emissions through greater use of natural gas. So I think what the vice president did is demonstrate he really is sort of out of touch with states like Texas and what really drives our economy and what's going to help us recover from this pandemic. My closing argument is, who do you believe is best suited to help rebuild this incredible economy that we had before COVID-19 hit? It was a 50-year low in unemployment for minorities and other Texans, and our economy was doing the best it's done in my lifetime. Obviously, with the pandemic, we're now in a recession, but now got some good news. We're starting to come out of it, but we still need to get that vaccine, and we still need to get people to be safe about how they return to the workplace and return to school. So I think the economy is the message, and I don't have any doubt in my mind that President Trump and Republicans in the Senate, because of what we've done the last 3.5 years, are best situated to help rebound and regrow the economy. Well, there's no question that they are trying to make the pandemic worse by frightening people, by denying them for example, the next COVID-19 relief bill that we tried to pass 4 times in the Senate, an additional $500 billion in relief on top of the $3.8 trillion we already did. We did pretty well together on a bipartisan basis in passing those 4 bills, but the closer it got to the election, our Democratic friends weren't interested in negotiating and in good faith, and actually heard Nancy Pelosi say that nothing was better than something. That's the opposite of what I've always believed, that you get something and then you build on it. But unfortunately, I think they felt like the more fearful, the more anxious people felt before the election, because of the lack of receiving this additional relief, the better it was for them politically. I think that's shameful and a cynical approach. Well, we saw the first indications of what we've now seen in 2020 and 2018, when Beto O'Rourke raised $80 million, 60% of it from out of state, and ran a stronger than expected race against Senator Cruz. And so what we did is learn from that experience. We've registered more than 250,000 new Republican voters. We've organized field staff to contact voters, both virtually and in person, and now we're in the process of turning those voters out. If people are eager to vote, but we've I think learned a lot about complacency and about living off of our legacy as a red state. Texas is much more competitive now because we have millions of more people here, and Republicans, frankly, had not been doing their homework in terms of registration and explaining exactly why it was that people wanted to move here in the first place, because of our great economy and the opportunity it provides. Well, Jack, we look at this at the people who voted, let's say, in the last 5 Republican primaries. And Democrats do the same thing to see who their high propensity voters are. And those people have already voted now. We've seen historic numbers. And now it's people who don't necessarily vote in every election, or maybe new voters who we don't have any voting history on, who are turning out to the polls. So what we're trying to do is to encourage people to vote, because this is the most important election in my lifetime. It's a challenging environment, to be sure. Their nation is polarized, but we need to make sure that the elements are in place so to regrow our economy and recover once we put this virus in our rearview mirror.
Senator John Cornyn, thank you so much. Appreciate your time.